Hello everybody, it is your boy M4X here, and in today's video we're going to be building Moscow, Russia. So, this is the capital city of Russia. You've probably heard of it, at least somewhere. Very large and influential city, and got so much history. And yeah, I really wanted to build it, and I was going to a long time ago. But the main issue I ran into was Russia has like a big censorship thing. So, I wasn't able to use like Google Earth to look at the buildings, so I had to manually look at the buildings just like on images and stuff, so I couldn't like get a 3D view. So I was like, I'll just wait until I'm skilled enough to not need Google Earth. So that's what I did. And yeah, so our first building here, or structure, whatever you want to call it, is St. Basil's Cathedral. Probably the most iconic structure in all of Russia, to be honest. So yeah, it's just a cathedral in dark red, and then it's got some green elements, and it's very well known for having all these different, how would you say, towers on it, with these different shaped, what would I say, top parts. I don't know. But yeah, so the main structure of the building is kind of this big pillar in the center and just a bunch of random pillars around it. And then the base is just like gonna use the brick with stud in the side, and then for the top parts of the pillars, we're just gonna use a bunch of different round, not cone pieces, but like swirly, or I don't know how to describe it. You know what I'm talking about though. These parts, the pointy little cone parts, are in green, and then so are some of these parts. And then the tops are all, or the top of the pillars are all in different colors. So there's like some yellow ones, some blue ones, green ones, and then I think it's a red one, a bright red. And then now for the middle part of the pillar, we're just gonna use dark red, and then at the top we're gonna put a cone, and on the top of that cone we're gonna put one of these little things on it, and then we're gonna make it in pearl gold. And just like that, we're finished. And now for our second building, another cathedral. This one is Christ the Savior, another iconic cathedral, and this one is like a mixture of white and gold, so it's kind of like a modern almost building or cathedral in terms of colors. This one is a more simple design, I'd say. Like, it's more, not more easier to make, that's not proper English, but you know what I'm talking about. It's a more symmetrical design. And once again, we're going to use these bricks with studs in the side because they are really good for these old style buildings. Make it come out a little bit in the front. And then on the top, we're going to have this main pillar with a giant rounded dome on the top, and then two other pillars in the front and to the side. And on the top, we're going to use these pieces and use gold for some of the roof. And the top of the dome is also going to be gold. And for the top of the dome, I couldn't really find like a good piece to go on top of it, so I ended up just using a cone. I'm going to make the street around it using our favorite tiles. Now we're going to do the front part so we can get it over with. Color that in black. And we're finished. So now we're going to build the river. Once again, I didn't do my research on what river it was. I just know that it's a river in Moscow, and it's probably the Moscow River, but I'm not going to assume because I don't want to be wrong. And we're just going to make a bridge going across it. We're going to use my favorite bridge design using a 1x6 tile, or not tile, plate, and then putting these sloped pieces on it going back and forth. And then for this one, I had quite a bit of struggles actually trying to make the bridge because I wanted it to not touch the other buildings, but at the same time I wanted space for the other side where it was going to be like the more downtown area. So I ended up moving around some parts, and so far this is the design I settled with. I did end up changing it later, but we're not there right now, so when I change it later we'll talk about changing it. And now for our skyscrapers, the first one we're gonna build is Eurasia. So this is a skyscraper that I'm gonna use 1x3 as my main, or 1x3 studs I should say, as like the main base. And I used 1x3 for 2 of the buildings, so like they have the same length and width, just the design's a little different. And because 1x3 or at least 3 studs across worked really well for this scale, so that's what we're gonna mainly use. And we're gonna use the bricks with studs in the side, going back and forth, and we gotta use the smaller one because, well, it's gonna be 1x3, and it sticks out towards the center part of the building, or the first half, and then on the top is thinner, and then on the very top is kind of like a slanted roof tile design, you know what I'm saying. And our next building is the Federation Tower, the tallest building in Moscow, not in Russia. I think there's a taller one in St. Petersburg, but that's another city that we're not building right now. And I did change up the city a lot and the movement of the buildings, so for now this is just going to be the prototype locations. So a similar technique as Eurasia, we're just going to use bricks with studs on the side, and then once again use the simpler one, but instead we're going to make it with this giant sloped piece going on the side, because this building has a very similar design to the Wilshire Grand Center in Los Angeles. So we're just going to kind of base its design off of that building because they're basically the same, just height difference and just a slight, change. But yeah, so for the front, we're just going to put some tiles on it just to cover it up. And then I put it back a little bit. I ended up moving it, like I said earlier, I did change up the location of a lot of these buildings. But again, we're not at that right now. So yeah, prototype locations. And then this one's gonna be lighter blue color for the reflection of the windows. And then I turned around some of these pieces because I ended up changing the tiles in the front to thinner ones, 1x3 thinner ones, because there's like a few separations in the building, like color separations into a darker blue. And now for our next building, we're gonna build the Mercury City Tower. So this one's really cool, especially the colors. It's like this really reflective orange gold color. And once again, we're gonna use 2x3 instead of 1x3. And we're gonna use bricks with holes in the side. I did end up changing the design of this building a little bit after I finished the sort of main design, but how it basically works is just we're gonna stack it upwards, and then angle it every time we stack it up until it's the appropriate height. And then building the top part, final area covered up with tiles, and that's the prototype design. So again, I did bump out a little bit more space just so we could have enough space for one more building that we'll build in a second. Gotta continue putting that apart, just like that. So now we have to color in the Mercury City Tower, and for yeah, so I was originally gonna use gold, but then I realized that it's not really fully gold, it's more kind of orange yellowish, so I just found this bright orange yellow color. And then for the slanted parts, I changed that to white because it's kind of outlined in white, the whole building, but I just ended up making that part white. And then for the slanted areas, I used these, or I replaced the tiles with these modified plates, these modified angled plates, and I think they actually added to the look a lot better. So yeah, good investment. Tile it off, and on the top do the same thing, just like that. Color it in once again, and then the white part. And then for this part back here, it kind of has a little bit of depth sticking out in the back, so I just grabbed a long tile and just put it there. Now putting down some more street. Again, we changed it later, but we'll get to that when we do. And our fourth and final skyscraper and final building in the whole set is it had a cool name. I think it was like, yeah, the Evolution Tower. So I used a 3x3 plate and then tiled it off, except for the middle part. And then I just kept placing more, or copy and pasted the plate over and over again. And then every time I did, I angled it by 5, so like -5 angle every time. So it had this like spiral design going up, and color it in dark blue, and then kind of have these like white stripes going up. So then the plate would be dark blue, and then the tiles would be in white. Just like that, we're finished. And now the top part was a little interesting. So it's kind of this sloped, angled part on both sides, and then one's a little bit taller than the other. So yeah, I put it on there. I made it a little bit too tall, so I just shortened it a little bit and just brought it down, took off one of the layers, and just like that, we finished all our skyscrapers. So now what I'm gonna do is just entirely relocate them. So what I did was I actually changed up the base for the Christ the Savior Cathedral, and I put some plates on the bottom, and then some of these modified, I love these modified 1x2 plates. They're so convenient with the studs in the middle. And then just like that, we've modified it, and now it fits better. And now we gotta put some more tiles around it, and then now we can move over the other buildings. And I was okay with the bridge touching it. I did move the bridge up front a little bit just to kind of give it some more depth. Just like that. But yeah, and then put the things around Eurasia, some street, color it in, and then I'll put the Federation Tower back down. And just like that, we're finished. So now what do? Save it and render it. And now we get to watch it render, the best part. This is our final product. This is one of my favorite sets. I know I say that every time I make a new set, that I say, oh, it's one of my favorites. But genuinely, over time, out of all the sets I've ever built, they just increasingly keep getting better and better. And I think this is one of the top tier ones so far, in my opinion. Because I like the contrast between the olden style cathedrals and the new modern skyscrapers. I think it just blends super well. And if you enjoyed it, then leave a comment down below what city you want me to build next. And with that, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. Bye!